I grew up in Essex. On a hill. At the top of that hill was a wood. Not a terribly huge wood. Less than a quarter of a mile across and about 600-700 meters deep. You could walk across it in under 5 minutes. Either way. Before the town was there, it was a lot bigger. In fact, it connected with most of the other little copses and woods. In fact, at one point was part of Epping Forest. Growing up, my mum always told me to be back before dark. And generally I listened. Generally. I don't remember any particularly frightening happenings as a child in Harlow, the town where I grew up. I mean, obviously I had the normal terrors that children have. Strange things at night and the uncomfortableness of going upstairs with the darkness behind me. Now, my story happened when I was about 16. It was around Christmas, and me and my friend and his girlfriend's little brother, we went and camped out of these woods that were on the golf course. And, you know, it went normal for a bit. Built a little fire, you know, had a chat, a couple of beers. It started snowing, which was quite cool at the time. We didn't normally get snow in that part of the world. It was quite novel, actually. Next thing we know, we're hearing noises, things moving around in the brush. At first we thought, you know, maybe it was foxes or something. We'd, you know, seen their like about. Definitely seen evidence of them. But the more we heard, the less it sounded like foxes. It's too big. And never in view. No matter what way we turned, it always seemed to be behind us. Needless to say, we booked it pretty quick. Grabbed our gear and we went and stayed in his conservatory. But after that event, I did start to notice it wasn't right, some parts in Harlow. I mean, those that live there now probably tell you it's a shithole. And to be honest, I'll tell you it's a shithole. But I spent the first 19 years of my life in Harlow. Up and down the bike cycle lanes and around the outskirts in the woods and stuff at night and all sorts. Didn't see a thing till I turned 16. Then just everything, every trip out in the woods at night was something following me. I never caught a glimpse of it, but I could hear it. Sometimes it wasn't even while I was in the woods. Harlow has quite an intricate network of cycle tracks. You can literally walk from one end of the town to the other on the same track, more or less. And sometimes I did. I was seeing my mate who lived down the south of the town. Then I had to go back to where I was staying at the time, which was my mother's, which was on the north of the town. And I'd walk from there along the cycle track because it was the easiest path. I mean, it was all right, you know, while I was going from my mates to well, there's this park called Hester's Park where the track goes through mostly, and you have two options. You can either go across a field and then up through a wood, which cuts, you know, 5 minutes, gets you on a more direct path where I'm going, or you can go straight up ahead and up this really long road, also through a slightly wooded bit, but it's 100 metres. You can, if you're stood at one end, even if it's pitch black inside, you can see the other side. It's not that long and it's a straight road. You can walk up there past the hospital and then through the town centre. So I walked that way that time because I was like, fuck that, I'm not going up all around that bloody wood and that. Mainly because I knew we had quite a lot of I hesitate to call them crackheads because they were using needles. I mean, not that I know that much about taking crack, but I'd assume you don't use a needle, seeing as people seem to refer it as, you know, smoking the rock or whatever. Again, not my area of expertise. I suppose you call them smackheads then, really, innit? Anyway, I'm getting off my point. So I wandered up through the town centre, and you know, got onto the next part of the cycle track down past Asda, and you take this long, pretty straight route. I mean, it's mostly well lit. I mean, there's a few street lamps that have gone out because, quite frankly, the council doesn't know how to fucking clean its own arse, let alone change bulbs. And I got about halfway down and then I started hearing the noises again. It was quite surreal. Keep walking and you just hear pad, you know, like a dog's paw on concrete, you know, the scraping of the claws. So I turned around, didn't see nothing. By this point I'm getting quite annoyed with, you know, always hearing this sound, and I'm starting to think to myself, am I fucking mental or something? So I keep on walking, convinced, yeah, it's all in my head. Eventually the noises stopped. I was like, yeah, cool, fine. I kept walking. And I've got halfway up this cycle track, and there's a sort of a crossroads. I stopped. There's this thing stood in the middle. It's like this big black dog. It weren't facing me either. It was looking down the. It was looking down the road towards where the fishing pond is. I thought it strange. I was like, I can't see a collar on it, so it must be. Maybe it doesn't belong to somewhere. It's a stray. So I walked towards it. I get to the crossroads. It's not there. And I'm not sure if it was there at all. I couldn't, because I'd seen it like about 100 metres. It had been there for a while as I crested the because it's got sort of a hill before you come to the crossroads. So I saw it as I crested the hill, and it was gone by the time I got to the crossroads. It was only about 300 metres. I'm sure it's not my eyes playing tricks on me, because there's definitely something there. I got to the thing, and I felt the concrete where I thought I saw it sitting, cold as anything. I mean, if there was something there, I don't know how long it had been sat there. But I couldn't see it anymore. Yeah, it's just getting pretty spooky, and I just was like, no, I'm going to keep going home. Turning back ain't much of an option, because my mate had gone to sleep by now. I mean, this was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll tell you something, I was sober as a judge on this occasion. Kinda wish I fucking wasn't. So keep wandering down, and then about 15 minutes later, the sounds are back. Just this paws on stone, well, concrete. I turn around, nothing there. This time I'm not so sure that they're in my head anymore, because I've seen that dog. Or thought I'd seen that dog. I think it was a dog. Looked like a dog. Big fucking dog though. I mean, since I've seen smaller wolves. But anyway, so I keep going. And then I get to a bit that, even in the day makes me a bit nervous. It's an older band. It's got basically, there's a gap in this fence. And if I cross over this fence, I get to a main road, and I can just walk straight to my house, because it goes round the corner, and it's just, the area's there. The problem is this is like a garden to some old abandoned house. Well, I don't know if it's abandoned now, but it was. No fucker in it. So I slip through the fence, come out the bushes there, and on the steps to this house, because I have to go past it round down the side, it's that dog again. This time it was looking at me. See, I kept my eyes on it because it's a dog. It's, you know, wandering around in the middle of the night, no collar or nothing. For all I know, it's got fucking rabies. So I keep fucking, you know, keep my eyes on it as I go up to the house to go round the side, and this dog's head follows me, and I keep an eye on it, and it keeps an eye on me. I've got to be honest, I got a bit unnerved. It weren't, you know, it weren't like I was staring in the eyes of fucking Black Shuck or something, but it weren't enough creepy. They weren't like glowing red, let's put it that way. They were dog's eyes. They're like normal dog's eyes, you know. Look at your dog and you go, oh, soppy kid. But this thing, it was just like, it's a little weird. It's a dog I've never seen before. And it's just, you know, and considering I've spent at the time I'd spent the last sort of 6 months everywhere I'm going, I'm hearing what sounds like a dog following me. It's a little bit creepy. So I'll keep my eyes on it, and I'll get around the back of the older, like to the alley bit down the side of the house. Oh, right, let's you know, because I'm sat here going, this is a dog. He ain't smart. Well, not people smart. So as I go into the thing, I turn around quickly and walk backwards down the alleyway to keep my eye on where I know the dog is, because the dog is around the corner. You know, and I walk all the way down the alleyway because I'm like, if this thing is going to go for me, it'll go for me while I can't escape in it. So I get to the end of the little alleyway onto the main road. Didn't follow me. So, okay. You know, nothing happened the rest of the way home. And I got home, you know, told my mum, I saw this weird dog. And she was like, what are you on about, you prick? I was like, right, fine. So I go to bed. You know, I used to do this journey about twice, maybe 3 times a week. You know, I go around with my mates, we play a bit of COD. You know, if it's a weekend, might have a couple of drinks. You know, standard fare, pretty standard. You know, we'd finished school that year. You know, we weren't bothered. So then you know, I hadn't seen the dog again, not for a while anyway. And it's, you know, it was about a week after my 17th birthday. And, you know, once again, I'm milling around out in the country on a weekend day, you know, having a roll around the field, seeing what's what, finding cool rocks, shit like that, you know. Because I used to do stuff like that, because we used to live on the Harlow's on the edge of Hertfordshire, so just outside of the town, there's a load of farm fields and stuff, and little copses and shit, which is quite cool to go and explore, you know. You know, you make a day of it, take a sandwich with you in your bag. So I did, quite often actually. And then this one time I ended up being out there until well after sundown, because I found this really cool fucking little copse with loads of really cool trees and shit. So I was like, okay, it's getting dark, I best get back home. So I turned around, and there was that fucking dog again. Sat at this crossroads. Well, I call it a crossroads. It's really, you've got a track that goes down the side of a field one way, a track that goes down the side of the field another way, and then a little track that goes onto the sort of country road thing, There it was, just sat in the fucking middle of that. You know, bogging at me again. So this time I was like, right, okay. So I shouted at it, I went, oi, fuck off. You know, his ears perked up and looked straight at me. I went, you know, cocked his head as if to say, no, you fuck off. So I was like, right, I don't care if you've got fucking rabies anymore. So I start marching straight at this dog. You know, fucking eyes fixed straight on the bastard. You know, 40 paces a bloody minute. Next thing I know, I'm so close to this dog, I can reach out and bitch slap it. I go, and it's gone. I mean, it didn't just like fucking apparate out of there. You know, it got up and ran away. But I was just like, for fuck's sake. So I, you know, wandered down the fucking thing. So there's a little village outside Harlow called Eastwick. That's the village I ought to go through. And then cross the A4104 or whatever it was to get onto a little cycle track that lets me into Harlow. And I hear the dog following me again. And I mean, this is a small village. You know, you can spit from one end to the other. You know, I've gone past the cenotaph and past a little pub. And, you know, I'm basically halfway out of the fucking thing. I can hear the dog following me again. Turn around, can't see the dog. Pretty standard fare at this point. So I get there, get across that little motorway, cross the little bridge that goes over the River Stort, and then down the cycle path again. Still hear the dog following me. At this point I'm turned around every sort of 15 paces or so, just to be like, you know, catch a glimpse of the bastard, just to make sure it is actually a dog following me, if you get your drift, and not just some weirdness. So I get back into Harlow. You know, same thing as the last time. Keep walking, keep hearing the dog follow me. And it stops. Then I stop hearing the dog following me, and then I see it in front of me, and it just stares at you. It's not, you know, too bad or anything like that. But I will admit, after every time I see the dog, stuff starts going wrong for me. Like after the first time I saw the dog, after I left school, I tried to get in the army, and I couldn't get in because of a medical issue that I didn't know I had. I had a minute squint in my left eye, which disbarred me because it dropped my vision below the acceptable rate. You know, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not the worst thing that could happen to me. But, you know, considering that the regiment that I was going to join, if I'd got into the army, got hit pretty hard in Afghanistan after what would have been my 18th birthday. I think I actually got off lucky there. But at the time, I was, you know, quite reasonably heartbroken because it'd been what I wanted to do. I soldiered on, as it were. Went to college. And I saw the dog again. Found out my Uncle Ted died. Which, you know, I always found strange. I see this dog and then something bad had happened. So I looked online, you know, and I saw, you know, posts about black dogs. You know, obviously, you know, the famous one, Black Shuck. I doubt it was fucking black shot because I'm still in one piece and nothing was on fire. And the Bargeist and the general myths about black dogs being, quite, omens, as it were. Found it strange. I mean, I'm nearly 30 now. Every now and then I do hear it following me. Because quite frankly, I'm still going to walk around in the arsehole end of the country's side. But I don't live in Essex anymore. When I turned 19, I moved to Milton Keynes, which was an interesting experience. Lived in the arsehole end of fucking Milton Keynes. Yeah, it took me 2 hours to walk to the town centre. Yeah, but it wasn't a horrible walk by any means. It was quite pleasant, quite nice, scenery. Providing you don't go into one of the little estates because you get lost. You follow the grid system and whatnot. It's fine. Heard the dog following me. Didn't see it again. Not for a while anyway. I eventually did. So I'd moved to Milton Keynes to live with my brother. And apparently him and my mum had an arrangement where she'd pay my part of the rent because I didn't have a job. And they were like, oh yeah, you can do it for a year. If he hasn't got a job by then, she won't be able to pay for it. Which to be fair, is fair. I mean, I wish they'd fucking told me. But, needless to say, a year went by, I hadn't got a job. And, there was a further 6 months before anything was done about it. But a month and a half before I found out, I was told about this arrangement. I saw the dog again. And then, obviously, my mum couldn't pay refused to pay the rent anymore. So I ended up going down and living with my dad, who divorced my mother when I was 16. So, since then I've lived in Surrey, near Gatwick, and it was interesting, to say the least. I still do hear it, but I haven't seen it yet. I've been down here now 7 years, give or take. I haven't seen it yet. Well, I suppose I haven't done much wandering in the countryside over the last year. And for 4 years prior to that, working some pretty strange hours. Long, strange as in long, not strange as in they are odd hours. Maybe if I hadn't been working such odd hours, I probably would have seen the bastard again. Could have guessed about the bloody pandemic. Though I suppose that happened to everyone, so maybe it wouldn't have told me. Because I'm pretty sure what I've been seeing is a hellhound. At least that's what the people on Reddit and stuff tend to call them. Because I've always just known them as black dogs. Which, you know, I suppose you can't really differentiate them from mundane black dogs. And let's face it, if we all started going, oh shit, something's bad going to happen, every time we saw a normal black dog, there'd be something bad happening to us all the time. Because quite frankly, my neighbour's got a black lab. Darling thing. Dumb as a stick, but darling thing. I mean, at this point I'm just rambling. But yeah, that's been my experience. It's been interesting, to say the least. I don't know if it's, you know, malicious, or if it's, you know, looking out for me, letting me know something bad's going to happen so I'm prepared, or if it's mocking me, or, you know, one of these days I'm going to see it and it's going to be me that goes. I don't suppose I could do much about it if it was. I'll be honest, at this point I'm not too worried about my own death. Not really much of an inconvenience. Well, to me. It's to everyone else. Again, irrelevant. I mean, if anyone has any idea what might be going on, you know, drop a comment or whatever. I'll be honest, I'm not probably going to tell too many of these stories. Well, not that I've got too many of these stories. Well, it's pretty much the dog, really. I did see some weird shit when I was out in Crowborough. Though I'm pretty sure that's just people from Crowborough. Anyway, I digress. Tell me what you guys think. Cheers.